if an infrastructure as a service is to be provided to an end customer, there is still a 9-yard which the client or the end customer has to tread to embrace or get on to the cloud platform, right? And that's where I see a huge value which a WAN can bring to the table.
Yeah, right. If a WAN provided the reach, and if there were given inputs actually in terms of moving into services play, do you think actually generally the WAN community would be happy to receive those inputs and platforms for services particularly?
Yeah. In fact, when I was sitting there when some presentations were going on, so that's what I was also thinking. Like, say, you have been giving like various roles what we can play. But is there any way that the vendors can give their business plan for the value-added reseller and say, okay, like this is the kind of the business plan and this is the kind of infrastructure what you can do and then take it forward. Okay, and then we are there to support your infrastructure.
You're saying, actually you're saying, you're telling me what to do, but tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
That's
okay. So, this transformation, I'm just picking up actually from your work of learning. For enterprises actually, this thing is actually cloud journey, the transformation journey, right? I mean, actually it's a journey of transformation. So, what I've actually encountered partners, when I've actually interacted with partners, is that when they talk about cloud, they look at it actually as a strategic stuff. They actually say, hey, it's a strategy that needs to be deployed. And cloud is a journey. It's not really something like, flip the switch. It's not like actually installing a hardware or actually, loading an application. It's a journey. It covers actually multiple things. It covers actually hardware, software, services, transformation. It even covers actually for an organization the types and kind of people that they need to employ when they actually are migrating to the cloud. So partners actually have an area of concern over here because they believe that they are not ready for it. They're not ready to actually get into the space which calls for pure consulting, which is really where I was coming from the transformational perspective. So Manohar, actually, I just want you to share your thoughts on that.
I just want to add something. I was expecting Anandaram to bring the subject up. What I was thinking is, okay, today your VRs are very specified. Oh, you guys are doing that very well. But when you come into solution, for 10 years, he knows that you will get the box in time, you will make the in time, whatever, he knows you. But will he trust you to build his solution for the future? Will there be some competency test required? Some kind of cloud certifications which he has will have helped him. Some kind of cloud, across the platform, cloud certifications. If he says, I have so many people certified on A, B, C levels and whatever, that can kind of, he needs to reading of himself actually. I don't think it will be so simple for him to just say, look, I am doing this, I can do this also.
Yeah. Okay, very good point actually. The customer is looking at that trusted advisor as actually someone from within the group who has done actually something extremely well all along, but he does not actually still trust him. That's an enterprise customer actually speaking. He still actually is not looking at the world as someone who can actually solution or architect a solution which is a long-term solution. That's really where it's actually coming from. So, there are actually, what it tells me is that there are actually areas of opportunities. There is actually a large, there is actually the, greenfield opportunity, which actually was talked about by Bhavan, in terms of, how a partner can cater to a large number of customers. We also talked about, the avatars of a partner in terms of the cloud service provider, cloud enabler, co-location and stuff like that. Shriram actually chimed in with the managed services story. We actually had, Nalini talking about services opportunity. We had Manohar actually talking about, the emerging role of, what is the expectation of the customer when it comes to a partner and so on. So we had actually all of these coming in, and Raju actually talking about how there is such a large opportunity for even a regular hardware reseller to kind of actually scale up. And the nice thing is actually we also have newer solutions coming in from what actually Anand shared about in terms of security solutions and stuff like that. Actually speaking, it actually leaves it tantalizingly delicate. It's nice, there's a large opportunity out there, but there's a little bit of a transformation that's needed. So I see actually wars evolving to become trusted advisors, offering services and stuff like that, and enhancing their share of the customer's IT pie on two counts. One is the coverage part, the second is the leverage part. The coverage is actually larger customer base. Okay? The leverage part is actually going back and selling a higher solution, a more enhanced value to the customer. Not looking at actually an IT deployment or a server installation, but more from a solution point of view. Okay, some notes on that actually.
Actually, while answering your this thing, I also want to give one small bit of advice to the friends, sellers here. So one thing, if we are getting into the cloud, the offering as a partner, we must plan for a long-term relationship with each and every vendor.
Right.
Whoever we are partnering, it has to be a very long term.
Yeah.
So then only we will be able to leverage a portion of because what we have created or what customers we have brought into them, so we can leverage that. So if it is a short-term vision, in the sense we will be keep doing the same thing what we are doing. In fact, I just want to quote here, sometime back in Indian Express, there used to be a column called as "They Make It Happen." Like, they make IT happen, something like that. So one time somebody featured us, okay, and I gave an interview saying that, okay, we are learning every time, and then from PC we moved to the networking, fiber optic, this and all those things. So next day we put a caption saying that they keep running to stay where they are. Okay, so that way, in a sense, so we need to catch up. Okay, initially to at least to stay where they are first, and then second thing is leverage that particular opportunity and take it to the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we just actually have spent a couple of minutes more actually for closing notes because I think we've actually spent about 50 minutes on the session. We can go on. This is a topic that can actually take us well into midnight. If you're all here for it, I can keep going on and on. But I think we'll actually bring it down now because I don't want to be standing in between dinner and you. So closing notes, with let's again start with Anand. There's some closing notes actually for the partners in terms of opportunities. Having gone through this kind of discussion. What do you, let me rephrase that slightly, that could be too generic. Tell actually two things that actually a partner could do, for them to, enhance their revenues. Just two things from your perspective.
In the SMB space, anything when it comes to electronics, the customer always looks towards the provider of the IT services as the first point of contact for anything beyond IT. It could be electronic security, it could be any future, cloud computing. So the relationship, the last mile connectivity is what the resellers have, and then with the security industry evolving and maturing into a very large scale opportunity, it is a simple add-on in terms of being able to sell services, which is related to security but to the same customer. And security is something where there is a very, very emotional need from a customer standpoint. So the ability for them to pay more, or the chances of them not negotiating on pricing would be quite minimal. So which means the opportunity for margins, the ability for an add-on sale related to solutions on security.
It's like insurance, isn't it? Nothing will happen, but you still pay for it.
You still pay for it, yeah. So if you're able to offer services related to video analytics, which anyway the customer has got the physical, the CCTV and DVRs, how could he be paying for video analytics services that sits on top of it, which is either based on incidence based or based on monthly X amount of footage that can go about what's happening in a store or what's happening in a bank. So these are some of the opportunities for the value-added resellers today in the room to look at security as a product, security as a service that can easily be sold to the existing customer base.
Right, great. So enhance your portfolio. Bhavin, actually two things that a partner can do immediately.
Yes, two things. First thing, they need to be change their mindset from product side to the solution side.
Very good.
They should be ready to sell the solution in place of the product. And the second thing, I strongly believe that all the resellers need to trust and remove that fear that yes, the margin will be not taken care of. They may lose the customer because again, the end of the day, you are not selling the product, you are selling the solution. So, as Anand was rightly mentioning that here there is a doubt that yes, he may lose his customer and how to enable it, correct? So, there is no fear, definitely your margin will be taken care, and there is no threat from any vendor or the distributor or value-added distributor on that particular segment.
Right, good.
You have just realized the fact that when you look at an SME, the SME does not trust a vendor as much as a large enterprise does, because the SME does not have the leverage that a large enterprise has. So in any context projects that we talk about as an SME versus a vendor with a VAR partner, in between the VAR has the biggest leverage as far as SMEs are concerned. So this is one fear that every VAR has to take out completely. Because for a very, very long time in the future, a small business will always depend on a VAR to be able to get its delivery of whatever service, solution or product in a much more fearless way. As a large enterprise will have in an equal position like dealing directly with the vendor. So the VAR's role in an SME context can never be wished away for many, many, many years. That's one thing that I think everybody needs to keep in mind. And from a vendor perspective, the other part that I would like to say is that the SME space is so huge, so vast and so fragmented, they will always depend upon a VAR to reach out to be able to deliver the fragmented service that's there. So both from a vendor perspective as well as from a customer perspective, the VAR is actually
an advantageous position.
Yes.
It's an advantage position.
As I said earlier also, so definitely cloud is here to stay, and all of us we know that. So definitely we as VARs, if we want to at least survive, definitely we need to, as a first immediate action, we need to embrace cloud. There's no doubt about that. So only thing is, if you don't do it, I want to just give some analogy like what has happened to your road corner kirana shop when the retail shops came, or what happened to in a silo medical shops when the chain of Apollo or these kind of medical shops came in, or what happened to your SPD booths when the mobiles came in like this. So these kind of things may happen to us. Okay, so better just get into that and have a very long-term policy or a commitment with the vendors and see that you are not taken for a ride kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a piece of
As I say, the major strength of the boss is the understanding of the customers.
Right.
So your real strength is that your customers. So as long as you understand your customer needs and build your business model around that, I don't see any threat over there. Because the technology may keep coming and changing. Today we will talk about another technology. We have client server, we have SaaS and application. Various technologies keep coming and evolving and like that. As long as you build your model, depending upon what your customer wants, what are their business issues, addresses, which you know better than any of the vendors over here. So as long as you do that, I don't see any threat at all.
But I see a lot of the silver lining I see is that we have an economy which is very under digitized, I would say. A lot of SME businesses can open up, schools, colleges, everything we can bring in efficiency if they start using more IT. So definitely your horizon will, I think the horizon will change. And the other thing I see, but it will require you to change to make use of that opportunity. And the second trend I observe globally is the telecom service providers are increasingly looking at cloud services to shore up their revenues because the bandwidth rate is falling and things like that. Ultimately, they control the pipe coming into every office. So maybe you will need to align yourself with telecom service providers, or they will come to you. I think so. I see that as one possible way happening.
Is it co-opetition?
Pardon?
Is it co-opetition?
It's not cooperation. They also know, not exactly cooperation.
Yeah.
They is a potential channel partner if they start selling services themselves. Because I think if you look at early adoption, it has happened with private cloud, and telecom service providers will control that.
Right.
At least that's how I see it happening in the Americas.
It's
So
happening, yeah.
So they will see. I mean, you will find maybe if BSNL does, or you will find Airtel and the thing selling you just more than bandwidth. They will be selling you other services if it's possible, and maybe you need to align with that because it will not be possible for TSPs to definitely understand the customer, but it's another channel open for you.
Right. Just a couple of thoughts on actually, since you represent the government as well in some way, do you think actually inclusion as an agenda by the government can increase the opportunities for partners? Citizen services, for example.
See, there is no going back that a lot of IT needs to be deployed. Okay. And whether it will be cloud, whether it will be, it will take time for cloud to happen. Will government think of a separate government cloud if they come up with ideas like, this data has to reside with the public sector itself, or it should reside in the government place. So these kind of things will change. And if they make too many walls around it, then maybe they will not be fast enough on how the technology changes. But I see there's a lot of momentum on that. It all depends on, again, what NIC decides. You know, be aware that NIC is building a national knowledge network which is very heavy, a 10 gigabit backbone with 1 gigabit with institutions, which has the potential to transform. So definitely it's a ready-made platform for, if you tie up with UIDA or CDAC computing resources, it's a ready-made platform for cloud computing. But then I think they will ask for standards, and they will ask in a typical way. I think they'll take a more cautious approach.
Yeah, so compliance is actually one agenda that partners should actually be pursuing when it comes to business practices and stuff like that. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Darren.
Okay, thanks, Anton. So I see it as not only from an SME market. I see it as an opportunity for VARs who are predominantly selling part-coded technology, whether it be software part-coded or it is hardware. Now you have an opportunity to resell services as well, which is a huge value add. So if you resell infrastructure as a service, you add on top of it your intellectual property and make it a SaaS. If you are taking SaaS as a service from any of these large providers, you provide a business process on it and sell and offer it as a BPaaS to the customer. So the answer, or rather a comment on what Mr. Rantraman said, what happened to the Kirana store when the retailers came in, or what happened to the PCO? So the PCOs became internet cafes, right? So and the internet cafes will probably kind of transform into e-commerce shops. So there is no end. I mean, the best thing is the world is going around. We're getting around it, and in this whole process, we are doing good for the world at large, and we are becoming greener. Right?
Absolutely. I think that's really one key thing. When you are doing all of this, but also actually driving the planet agenda for going green. I think we've got actually various thoughts over here. It's actually been a pretty long evening for all of you. Just to actually quickly some of the thoughts of the panelists and also actually some of the inputs that we got from the audience. The VAR owns the customer. Make no mistake about it. I think that's actually very, very clear over here. VAR owns the customer relationship, and he's actually already a trusted advisor for the customer. The second thing, there is a large amount of opportunity. The coverage, leverage, the part that I talked about. With incremental increase, with a little bit of increase in investments, you are actually able to map out to a larger customer base, which couldn't have been possible earlier. Thanks to cloud, it is actually possible. The leverage part comes in actually from selling value-added services. You can actually see partly things like consulting and all that actually being a part of your portfolio pretty soon if you are up to speed on this thing. So with all of these things happening, it's absolutely a great time and a great place to be in as a VAR, because you're now influencing the customer, owning the customer, being a trusted advisor to the customer, and you see a massive opportunity. And from an India perspective, 26 million SMEs with very little automation, zero or no IT actually there. So that means it's a greenfield opportunity. So go after that, okay? And having said all of this, for those of you who are actually keen to know, because I didn't introduce myself at all to start with, okay, because I didn't want actually any bias to the whole thing. My name is Lakshman Rao, Lux Rao for short, and I'm the country manager for cloud consulting for HP. What I do basically is, it's actually some kind of a designation, but what I do is help organizations actually make the journey to the cloud. So for those of you who are actually keen, just give a call or send a mail. We can actually help you out there. It's luxrao@hp.com. So this is actually some thoughts about how exactly the role of VAR is kind of metamorphosizing into more value. In fact, actually cloud adds the value to a value-added reseller. That's actually what I would like to conclude my session with this. Thanks for being patient, and I will not hold you back.